This is a video on modals. Modals are verbs like shall, must, could, might, will, ought to, may, would, should, can. These are modals, and this is a short video for modals for school level. Modals are special verbs. They are special verbs. They are verbs, but they are special verbs that precede the main verb. They always precede the main verb. We say we should go. Should comes before the main verb go. You must obey. Must comes before obey. So the modals are special verb, special verbs that precede the main verb. They always come before the main verb. They are used to convey additional information about the nuances of the speaker's tone and intention. And also note that modal verbs cannot make a sentence without being followed by a main verb. You cannot say I can. You have to say I can go, I can swim. You can't say you must. You have to say you must tell the truth. We shall discuss these modals in details. And one interesting fact about modals, past tense form may be used in present tense. We will see how. So far as I know, the only quality video on modals is by Chandani of Magnet Brains. You can find it on YouTube, Chandani of Magnet Brains. She has produced a brilliant quality video on modals, and that's the only quality video on modals so far as I know. Chandani is one of the best English teachers, and she really explains all the things you need to know about modals beautifully and clearly. But a video is in Hindi, so I thought to make one in English. However, for those who understand Hindi, even if you know a bit of Hindi, I would strongly recommend you to watch Chandani's YouTube videos on modals. And because she has dealt with the modals in a very exhaustive manner, they are in different parts. So if you know Hindi, be sure to watch Chandani's YouTube videos. Before starting on modal verbs, a few simple facts. Modals always come before the main verb. Always should go, must do it. Should will come before, should go. Must do, must will come before do. Modals do not permit any inflections. For instance, if you have a word like cook, you can have cooks, cooked, cooking, but modals can. You cannot add s, you cannot add ed, you cannot add ing, there would be no inflections. We can't use two modals together. Can and will cannot be used together. Would and may cannot be used together. So special verbs preceding the main verb, which you cannot use with any other modal, two modals cannot be used together, and where you cannot add s or ing or ed, these special verbs are called modals. A modal has only two forms, present and past, whereas most verbs have several forms. For instance, most of the verbs would have 5 different forms: V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Do, for instance, do, did, done, doing, and does. Go, go, went, gone, going, goes. So you have 5 different forms for most of the verbs. But modals, you will get only 2 forms: can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should. You will get only 2 forms, that is the original, the root verb, and the past tense. It is interesting to note that past forms of modals can be used in sentences that are meaning present tense. The sentence could be actually in present tense, but yet you could use the past tense modal. For instance, could is a past tense of can. It can be used in past tense and also in present tense sentences. See how we are using. When I was young, I could recite the entire Bhagavad Gita. When I was young, the sentence is in past tense. Here, could you please make us some tea? It's a more polite form rather than using can. You can also use, can you please make us some tea? But could you, it is not past tense, it's just a polite form. Similarly, he told me yesterday that he would definitely return on Monday. Told is in past tense, so would is also in past tense. I would like to go with you if you don't mind. This is not in past tense, this is in present tense, but would is a more polite and formal usage. However, the converse is not true. Present forms cannot be used in past sentences. For instance, in this place, you cannot use the word can. In this sentence, you cannot use the word will. He will go or he will return. You can't say when I was young, I can recite. But in present tense, you're using the past form. Could you please make us some tea? A more polite form and more formal than using can you make us some tea? Would you like to go? It's a more polite form than will you like to go? I would like to go. It's a more polite and formal form than I will like to go. So the past form can be used in present but not vice versa. Now, use of can. Can denotes ability, skill or knowledge. Can denotes ability, skill or knowledge. I can swim. I can cook Italian dishes. I cannot speak French. These are ability, skill or knowledge. The competence. Can is loosely used in place of may to seek permission. Can I make a phone call please means may I make a phone call please. Can is used to grant permission. You can come in. I'm giving you the permission to come in. I have waived your dues. You can sit for the exam means you are permitted or allowed to sit for the exam. Granting permission. Can is used to state a general rule. You can apply for passport online means now online application is possible. Now complaints can be lodged online. It is possible to lodge online complaints. Railway tickets can now be booked 90 days in advance. So these are general rule or general procedure or general facility that are offered. Railway tickets, the facility you can book 90 days in advance. Complaints, you can book online. So these are general procedure. Can is used to state a general rule, not necessarily the ability always. Two important notes. Can as a modal verb is pronounced can. Can pronounced with a can. Can is a milk can. It's a container. These are milk cans. As a verb, it's not can, it is can. Only the negative of can, cannot, is a single word. Otherwise, you're always writing as two separate words. Will not, could not, may not. They are two different words. Only the word cannot is a single word. And the word is pronounced can, not can. Can is actually a container like a milk can. It is can. So can and cannot. Cannot is written as a single word, but in all other cases, not is a separate word. Uses of could as a past tense. When I was 3 years of age, I could add and subtract. He said, I cannot come. This is in direct speech. When you change to indirect speech, he said that he could not come. So in all these cases, you are using the past tense of can. To make polite requests, could you please tell me the way? It is more formal and more polite than using can. Could you please add one more spoon of sugar to my tea? You could file a lawsuit against your landlord. This is a suggestion. You could. There is a possibility I'm suggesting you an action. This is an advice, this is a suggestion. You could file a lawsuit against your landlord. Presumptive or conditional past. If I had been there, I could have helped you. If you had no change, you could have asked me. These are the conditionals. And irritation or frustration. Couldn't you keep still for 5 minutes? You're so irritating. But it's more of a command than vexation. You can also say, can't you keep still for 5 minutes? More of a command, a rebuke. Uses of may. To ask for permission. May I come in, please? May I go to the movie with my friend? Possibility or uncertainty. It may rain. Possible. He may come tomorrow. He also may not come. France may win this year's World Cup. A possibility. It may or may not win. Wish or prayer. May you live long. May God give you a happy and healthy life. All these are prayers and blessings. Formal rule. The hostel fees may be paid after your admission is confirmed. The court may waive the penalty at its discretion. These are formal rules. Maybe is a pure conjecture or pure guesswork. Why is he absent? Maybe he is ill. That means I really don't know, but it is possible that he is ill. It's a pure guesswork, pure conjecture. Maybe he is ill. And note that may I is permission. May I come in? May I go to the movie? May you is a prayer. May you live long. May God give you a happy and healthy life. It's a prayer. But may I is a permission. Use of might. Might is a past tense of may. He said, I may attend. He said that he might attend. We are using the past tense of may, might. As a possibility but more remote and less certain. It might rain tomorrow. He might not have known about it. Possibility but not so certain. The word might, when not used as a modal, means power. In this case, it is not a modal. It's not a verb. The mighty Maratha warrior, the pen is mightier. Might and mighty are used to denote power. As a pure conjecture, he might have done it out of pure sight. Pure conjecture, pure guesswork. Really, I don't know. He might have done it. Just a guesswork or a conjecture. Use of shall. Shall is used in several places, but now it's a dying word in modern English. It's obsolete in American English. That is English US. In British English, English UK, it's sometimes used, but it's a gradually dying word. We almost use will for all cases. Shall I is used for suggestion. When you are suggesting something, an offer for help. Shall I clean the room while you paint the walls? An offer for helping. I shall not be late. We shall all be right on time. This is an assurance. We shall not be late. Thou shalt not steal. There's a command, which means you shall not steal. So it could be a suggestion or offer to help. It could be an assurance or it could be a command. But as we said, it's a gradually dying word and almost it is obsolete in American English. Should. In addition to being past tense of shall, should is used as a moral duty or obligation. We should pay our taxes on time. That's our duty. We should wear masks. That's our duty. We should help the poor, a moral duty. Advice or warning in its negative form. You should not eat roadside junk food. Warning. You should not believe all that's said on the media. Because most of the media are paid actually to report fabricated news. So you should not believe all that's said on the media. Should as a conditional. Should he ask you for more money, refuse the offer means if he asks you for more money. Should he fail to deliver the goods on time, cancel the order means if he fails to deliver. Should means if, particularly the sentence is beginning with should. Shouldn't we first confirm the news? It's a caution. Shouldn't we first confirm the news? Means it's better that we confirm the news first and then act upon it. Shouldn't we first confirm? Shouldn't we do it? Shouldn't we go there? These are actually suggestions or even caution or warning. Use of will. The simplest and most often used modal verb for future tense. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll not go to office for 3 days. Simple future tense. As a determined assertion, I can, I will, is a mantra to build self-confidence. I can do it, I will do it. No matter what happens, I will do nothing dishonest. Whatever happens, I will do nothing. There's a determination. As a challenge, will you? I'll complain against you. Mr. X is saying, I'll complain against you. Mr. Y, oh, will you? Just do it and then see what I do. There's a challenge. Will you? Means, how dare you? I'll complain against you. Will you? Means, do you have so much courage or temerity? So it's a challenge. Will, not as a verb but as a noun, denotes determination. Where there's a will, there's a way. Will is a legal document as to how one's property shall be inherited after death. This is not a modal, this is a noun. Modal is always a verb. This is a noun, will, that's the legal document. The rich man called his lawyer to make some changes in his will, how your money shall be distributed after your death. Use of would. In addition to use as past tense of will past tense would, we have some other uses. Polite requests. Would you like some tea, please? You can also say will you like, but as I said, would is more polite and formal. Would you mind shifting your bag a bit? So would you mind? There is a very polite form of asking something, would you mind? Conditional or presumptive statements. If he was ill, he would have gone to the hospital. If he had killed her, he wouldn't have kept the knife in his house. He would say that he is jealous of my brother. If you give me an opportunity, I would work hard and give you full satisfaction. So a conditional or presumptive statement. The same thing we had for could. There's a conditional or a presumed situation. Polite and more formal form of will. I would be happy to assist you. I would do it with pleasure. A more formal and a more polite form of will. Both in requests and in statements, would is sometimes more polite and more formal than using will. Must, should, ought to. The differences between these words could be very subtle. Must denotes a compulsion and implies some authority. Should implies an obligation. Ought to just a firm opinion on what's right. Must is a compulsion and implies there is some authority to force the person to do it. Should implies an obligation, a moral duty, and ought to is just a firm opinion on what's right and what must be done. For instance, Mr. X has high fever. Mr. Y and Z are his friends. Mr. X's parents, now they have some authority because they are the parents. So they would say, you must go to the hospital. We are using must because the parents are talking to their son. Mr. Y to Mr. X is a friend. Mr. Y is just a friend. Yes, my friend, you should go to the hospital. And Mr. Y and Mr. Z are talking. When Mr. X is not there, he just says, Mr. X ought to go to the hospital. I think that is the right path, but X is not there. Mr. Y and Mr. Z are talking. Mr. X ought to go to the hospital. Doctor to Mr. X, you must quit smoking. Mr. Y to Mr. X. Now doctor is in a position of authority. So you can say you must. Now Mr. Y is just a friend. You should listen to your doctor's advice. Mr. Y to Mr. Z. Mr. X ought to heed the doctor's advice. So must is an obligation. A doctor, the parents, they have some authority. Should is a moral duty or obligation, and ought to is just an opinion or what you think is right. Thank you. If you have enjoyed this video, WhatsApp us or email us. We will come back with more such videos, and you can also request us for more videos because all our services are entirely free of charge. Till then, thank you and goodbye. And I also thank Chandni of Magnet Brains for the brilliant video, but she made it in Hindi and now this is in English. Thank you and goodbye once again.